Hi, Paul Mascetta here with InfluenceMaster.com, and I want to talk to you about one of the key aspects of influence, which is called involvement. You see, you can't gain a commitment, which ultimately leads to compliance, unless you have your target involved in what you're asking them to do. Commitment is an extremely powerful thing. When people make commitments, they generally tend to stick to them, because when they don't, something happens within them that makes them feel very uneasy. It's internal conflict and cognitive dissonance that no one really enjoys. This is when a person thinks or behaves in a way that is different from what they truly value inside. And so if a person commits to something and then they don't follow through on that commitment, it creates a feeling of uneasiness within them that they don't enjoy. The second reason why people tend to stick to their commitments is because we as a society tend to frown on people that don't stick to their commitments. And so once you can get a person to commit, you have 80% of the persuasion process done. But it's virtually impossible to get someone to truly commit unless you have them involved in what you're trying to do. Involvement is a key part of the process. So today I want to share with you 3 powerful ways that you can get your target involved in your presentation so that they can happily accept your message, okay? The first one is to increase participation. The more participation that your target is exhibiting, the higher the chances of you persuading them to get them to do what you want, okay? Retail stores know this better than anyone. They know that the longer a customer spends in one of their stores, the greater the chances of them buying are. And that's why they do things to keep you engaged. They have customer service representatives constantly walking over to you, asking you questions, trying to help you, trying to get you engaged. They have music that you might enjoy. Some of them may even have exhibits or shows going on inside of the store just to keep the customer there as long as possible, because they know that once the customer is there for a long period of time, chances are they're going to make a purchase because they've now become mentally and emotionally vested in that time or place. The second thing that you can do is you could ask for advice. And the reason why this is so powerful is, one, because people love to hear themselves talk. People love to share their opinions. Oftentimes, people will tell you how they feel and share their opinions even when you don't ask them. So you can imagine the type of feedback that you can get when you do ask someone for their advice or their opinion on something. The second thing that this does is it flatters people. People feel respected when you ask them for their opinion. It makes them feel as though you view them as credible or smart, and looking to them for answers is something that makes them feel good. Remember, people in general want to feel needed and appreciated, so asking for advice is a great way to get your target involved in your presentation. And the third, and perhaps the most powerful way that you can involve your target, is by asking them questions. Questions are great for a number of different reasons. First of all, they open up the door to create rapport. Rapport is the platform from which a relationship is built on. And when you begin asking questions, what happens is you open up a door for an exchange of words between you and your target, which is ultimately going to lead to rapport. And once you have the rapport established with someone, you can then really begin to build on the relationship. The second thing that questions do is keep your target engaged in the conversation. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation with someone and suddenly you're not becoming interested anymore and you're starting to maybe space out a little bit, and then someone asks you a question? Well, this puts you in a position where you have to think of the answer. And anytime you have to think of an answer, you're now becoming engaged once again in the conversation. This is another reason why you would want to ask questions to your target to make sure that they're on track and they're still engaged and listening to what you have to say. Okay? The important thing that you have to remember about questions is how you frame them. Research shows that people respond more to the way that a question is framed than to the actual content of the question itself. For example, when a group of people were asked how tall or how short someone was, the same group of people answered the question differently. When these people were asked how tall a basketball player was, the majority of them answered 79 inches. When asked how short the same basketball player was, they responded with 69 inches. The way that the question is framed will dictate the answer that the target gives you. One Stanford professor by the name of Elizabeth Loftus wanted to research how leading questions could impact eyewitness testimonials. And basically, she asked 3 different groups of people the same question, but she framed it in 3 different ways, and as a result, received 3 different answers. The first group was asked, how fast were the cars going when they smashed into one another? The second group was asked, how fast were the cars going when they hit one another? And the third group was asked, how fast were the cars going when they contacted one another? Well, the first group answered with an average of 40.8 miles per hour. The second group answered 34 miles per hour, and the third group answered with an average of 31.8 miles per hour. That's almost a 10-mile difference in speed simply because of the way the question was framed. And mind you, this is the same exact question. The only thing that was changed was one word. The word smash results in 40.8 miles per hour. The word hit results in 34.1 miles per hour, and the word contact results in 31.8 miles per hour. This once again proves that the way that a question is framed can drastically impact the way that the question is answered. So just remember, when questioning people, do it tactfully and intelligently. Always think of where you want that person to wind up and where you want to bring them when you're asking them a question. Don't ask a question just to ask it. Know what your questions are beforehand and make sure that your questions are going to lead them to the place that you want them to. Once again, this is Paul Mascetta with InfluenceMaster.com. Have a great day.